Hello everyone, my name is Naomi. I don't even know where to start my story. First, please answer me one question. Do you think your couple should be your friend, girlfriend? Do you trust your loved ones so much that you are like best friends? You know, in the beginning I was of the same opinion, but it seems that then something went wrong and my boyfriend began to get into my girlfriend. I agree it sounds twofold, so listen further and you will find out what happened. By the way, do not forget to put likes, write your opinion in the comments, and be sure to subscribe to the channel. I had a boyfriend named Justin, and we dated for about a year. He is a good person. We met him at one of the swimming competitions. He was the best in his team. Often participated on behalf of the school. Jus is a tall, muscular guy with gorgeous black hair, a beautiful smile, and an unreal voice. He won me with everything. He always looked at the world with a positive attitude, admiring me with a kind heart. I had a couple of bad relationships before, and I was already disappointed. But then we met, and it all started to happen. I remember slipping by the pool and hurting my leg badly, and he was the first to run up to me and start helping me, giving first aid. He did it badly, but he tried, and I appreciated it. Immediately after the competition, we went with him to the nearest cafe to eat and discuss how the event went. He was always an open person, so I found out that he was the youngest child in the family, but he also has 3 brothers. His parents worked for an international organization and were often busy at work. Jus was looked after by his older brother, and then he got married and left. Jus stayed with the other 2 brothers, but they didn't care who lived how, each took care of himself. So he grew up. Jus said he wanted someone who understood him, was on the same level with him, supported him, and talked a lot. Yes, he's a fine man to talk to about life. I liked it so much. We chatted for 3.5 hours, and it didn't seem enough. After lunch, we decided to take a short walk. He walked me home, and then we exchanged phone numbers. From that moment on, our communication did not stop. We called, wrote off, met, and constantly talked about anything. Jus always praised my outfits. He thought my looks were stylish. Yes, I like to dress nice, but I thought that my boyfriend also knows a lot about fashion. He was never stingy with compliments, so I literally bathed in them every time we met. I loved it. Among other things, he was romantic and knew how to please me. He often gave me perfume and chose it personally. He went with me to beauty salons and sat next to me, just watched me get a manicure, increase my eyelashes, or dye my hair. All the girls were jealous of me, saying that I should look after such a guy, and I agreed 100%. But still, what I liked most was talking to him for hours. I could share with him everything that was going on in my heart. We discussed both our personal problems and, in general, even fashion. It was beautiful. I never dreamed that my boyfriend and best friend could be 2 in 1. A year of our wonderful relationship passed so quickly. And then everything changed. One day, when my parents were away for a sleepover, I invited Jus to my house. We planned to chat as always, cook dinner together, and watch movies. I'd already made a selection of romantic movies, our favorites to cry over. This kind of tear therapy helped to relieve stress and relax. Jus came in with bags full of groceries. We started cooking with music playing loudly, and as soon as we sat down to dinner, my mom called me. She urgently asked me to go to her grandmother, who lived on the next street, to help her with her cooking. I agreed, decided to take our ready-made dinner to her, asked Justin to eat without me, quickly packed up, and left. I was gone for about an hour while I fed my grandma, cleaned up, and put her to bed. Then I quickly ran home. I went inside and called for Justin, but he was nowhere to be found. Dinner lay untouched on the table and was already cold. Pleasant music was coming from the bedroom, and I thought maybe he was taking a bath and went up to him. Slowly opening the door of my bedroom, I saw something. Jus was standing in front of the mirror in my clothes. A red dress barely pulled on, makeup on his face, and he still managed to put on my sandals. He was standing in front of the mirror, posing and taking selfies with his lips stretched out. I thought he was just kidding, but he was so in character that I just stood outside the door and watched. Justin, after taking a couple of photos, went back to my closet and sorted through things. He tried to pick everything up, looked at whether the blouse matches with these or other trousers, and when the music ended, he turned around to change the track and saw me. My boyfriend screamed like a girl and immediately covered his body with a skirt. "How long have you been here?" he asked me, and I entered the room, smiling, and said that I didn't understand what was going on. Then Justin was clearly nervous. He excused himself by saying that he decided to make fun and surprise me, so he picked up a look to show me. "You know how much I like to dress," he told me as he put everything back in the closet. "Yes, but it's women's clothes," I said, and he said, "It doesn't matter if it's men's or women's, it's primarily clothing." After these words, we put things in order and went to dinner. It was the first meal we'd both had without a word. When I cleaned up, Justin put on a movie, and he said he found something we hadn't seen yet. There was a movie about how a man likes to change into different women's clothes, and in the end, he decides to become a woman. I wasn't watching the movie anymore. I was watching Justin. I saw how absorbed he was in watching it. At the end, he asked me how I would react if he were the main character. I answered honestly, "I don't know." Then Justin went to bed. I lay there and thought about what he said, then picked up my phone and Googled his story. He was looking for various kinds of hormonal drugs, as well as stories about gender change and how the female body works. Then I found his notes, where he writes on behalf of some Lucy. I was in shock. Does he want this? The next morning, when Just woke up, I asked who Lucy was. He got very nervous, said something unintelligible, kissed me, and left. In the evening, he wrote to me that he was waiting for me at his house in the morning. I arrived without delay and we went somewhere. He did not answer my questions all the way and then stopped at a private hospital. "Since you are my friend, I want to trust you with everything," he said, and we entered the clinic. He was greeted warmly, as if he already knew all the doctors there. Then a doctor came out and invited me into an office. What I learned there will always remain in my memory. It turns out that my boyfriend started hormone therapy to change his gender. He decided to become Lucy. My jaw almost dropped. I didn't say anything, and when we left, I asked him why he decided that. Just said that he had wanted to do this for a long time, but he just didn't dare. Yes, it was not for nothing that he stared at my things, was so gentle and attentive. He asked me to keep it a secret for now and still be close to him. In general, I witnessed how my boyfriend turned into a woman. Because of the strong pills, he began to grow breasts, he grew his hair, and gave up sports. Over time, Justin and I began to go shopping and pick up women's clothes for him. We went to get manicures and eyebrow correction together. 6 months later, he became even more feminine and asked to be called Lucy. We still talked for hours, but he was already like a girl to me. He became my best friend, who looked at guys the same way I did. A couple of months later, Justin brought me home and we talked about everything with his family. His brothers went crazy, including his parents. They even wanted to kick him out of the house first, didn't talk to him, got angry, and he stayed with me for a while. By the way, yes, my parents were also in shock, but then everyone got used to it. Justin, more precisely, Lucy, has become much more feminine and radically changed the way of life. As for me, of course I was terrified. I was lost and I didn't know if it was all right, but I couldn't influence him. If he wanted to and was already on his way, how could I betray him? All he asked for was support, so I gave it to him. Anyway, now I have this awesome girlfriend that I hang out with. What do you guys say?